Hi, Sonia here with my friend and mentor Hazel. Give us just a moment. We're going to see if anyone pops on because we'd love to hear your questions. And I got a little thing to do over here. So give us just a moment. Okay. Doesn't look like we have anyone on yet.
You can tell.
Yeah, sometimes. It isn't always a perfect science. So my experience with these lives is that sometimes you can see when people pop on, it'll tell you right up there how many are on or not. Okay. But especially being out here in the valley, I find like it's kind of hit and miss. So, but the cool thing is, especially if you're just popping on, you can always go back and watch us from start to finish anytime. It's on Facebook, so it'll be saved, which is fantastic. Okay, so here we go. All right, we're going to start in just a moment here. Okay. Oh, we got someone on, and this actually will also let me see comments and be able to manage comments. Hey, Katie, thanks for joining. Okay. Okay, so I think we're rolling. We got a couple people on. I see Katie. I see at least one other person. Welcome. So my name is Sonia, and I love plants, and I've always loved plants. Hey, Lisa, thanks for joining. And I actually studied ethnobotany in college, so I really have a great desire to learn more and know more. Hey, Lisa. This is Hazel. And so I'm going to actually stop talking about myself here and introduce you to our guest of honor, Hazel Koppenberg. And we'd love to see your comments or questions. So I'm going to ask her a few questions and let her share with us a little bit about her and what she does. And then we'll also see your questions and comments on here. So we will get to them. All right, to start. So Hazel Koppenberg is a home herbalist here in the Valley. She has 23 years of experience of wild crafting and learning about plants. Now, we wanted to learn a little bit about springtime teas. Hi, Katie. Can you see us? Mwah. I think that's what you're doing. Okay, back to Hazel. So Hazel, I figured, was the perfect person to talk to us about this. So Hazel, tell us first of all, what type of effects are we looking to achieve when we're choosing herbs for a springtime tea?
We're looking for tonic herbs, the kind that are going to be cleansing to our intestines and give us a boost and just refresh us after winter, sluggishness, and get rid of a lot of the sluggishness. And we're also looking for whatever we can find at this time of the year, which is a big thing.
Yes, for us here in Alaska.
Yeah, it's a big thing.
Absolutely. We're at the mercy of Mother Nature here for sure.
Yeah.
Awesome. Okay, so tell me more about which herbs that you would recommend for a springtime tonic tea right now.
Right now, at my house, which is very late, spring is late everywhere, but I'm later, I have available fireweed shoots, dandelion leaves, horsetail, and wild dock leaves. But they're all good for tonics, so that's all I have available, so that's what I'm having right now.
Well, and yesterday I got to go by Hazel's house, and she actually showed me how to put this all together into a tea. So tell us a little bit about that.
Okay. Well, I have some little nettle infusers they're about so high, and I just take it out in the yard and go around like we picked three fireweed shoots. We picked 3 or 4 horsetails, and then we picked a few little leaves off of a wild dock, just the little tiny ones, and some dandelion leaves, and we just stuck them all in the infuser. And then we went in and the tea kettle was already boiling, and poured boiling water over them in a mug and waited 5 minutes. And actually, I also had some little wild mint sprigs in mine, and we put some dried wild mint in Sonia's. But that makes it good. It makes it good. But the mint isn't big enough to do anything else with yet.
Yeah, and that's a key point that Hazel's making, is because we're just getting some of the green stuff now, we kind of do what we can with what we have.
Exactly.
And so she had a few little tiny small mint leaves, but she gave me some extra dried ones from last year's harvest, and I have to say I was absolutely impressed. The tea was fantastic.
Yeah, it's really good, and it's just something about making it fresh. You can dry all of these herbs, but fresh this time of the year is superior. It's so good.
Yeah.
And it's so fun to go out and get them too. It's fun to do that, yeah.
Okay, let's see. So as warmer weather approaches, we're not there yet,
No, for
but
sure.
as it approaches, what other herbs can we expect to look for that would also be good in teas?
Well, then I'll go by my yard because I don't know about your yard, but I'll have chickweed later on, and I'll have lamb's quarters, which is also really good in tea. And let's see, for a while, that will be kind of it. And then later on, there will be things like yarrow, and before that, raspberry leaf, strawberry leaf, which is really good in teas too. And let's see, and then if you want to pick petals off the roses, rose petals are really nice in tea also. There's I want to mention right now though about the raspberry and strawberry leaves. I use them all the time, and they're very good in tea. But the caution is that you want to use them either fresh or dried. When they're wilted, they're toxic. So you use them fresh or dried, and they're perfect. Well,
and this is a huge point. Thank you, Hazel, for bringing that up. And I think this is why a home herbalist or somebody who actually has experience with plants and identifying herbs is so vital. Because there are, depending on what time you pick a plant or how you harvest it, you could potentially have a dangerous thing on your hands.
And I didn't even mention to start with that every edible plant you can make tea out of. Some of them don't taste as well. I don't use wormwood because I don't like the taste of it. So you just want the nice tasting ones.
Well, and so we have a question from one of our viewers. Thanks, Katie. Katie's asking, how can she best use Devil's Club root?
Well, you can use that for tea, but you can make a salve out of it, and it's a very effective salve. You have to, have you ever harvested Devil's Club root? Katie, do you know how to do that?
So, Katie, if you're still on, have you ever harvested Devil's Club root? So were you going to go into the process of how to
Well, some of it, yeah. Because if you...
I'm going to refresh here and see if we got a response from Katie. So if you're just joining, we're talking about Devil's Club root and how to best use it.
Well, I'll assume, Katie, that you have Devil's Club root. And if you have the Devil's Club root and you've peeled it, so you already have the part of it that you need, then you infuse it in oil, which means you kind of break it up, you put it in oil. If you have a blender, you can grind it up. And then you wait several weeks, either that or you put it in a double boiler and warm it up that way. And then you can extract the medicinal part of the devil's club into the oil that way, and then you can make a salve out of it. Or you can also make a tincture out of it. And if the tincture, then you don't want to use the oil, then you just put the devil's club root directly into your base of your tincture. And that is a good medicine also. Or you can use the devil's club root for tea.
So you can actually take root internally.
Yes, devil's club root is safe to take internally. In fact, it's used in Southeastern, they use it for all kinds of medicinal purposes that I don't even use it for yet because I don't know how. So.
That's one of my favorite things about Hazel, and that's a true herbalist there, because she knows that we don't know everything, which you kind of have to know, otherwise you're going to get yourself into trouble.
You can't assume it. You have to learn it.
Absolutely. Okay, so let's see. Tell me about some of your favorite combinations of herbs for teas.
Well, right now, my favorite combination is what I can find.
Yeah.
But horsetail and wild mint are delightful. They make the nicest tea. They're really good. And the raspberry and the strawberry leaves are really nice tea too. And the yarrow later on in the season is really good. That's one of my favorites too.
Yeah, that's one of my favorites as far as what I'm looking forward to trying.
Yeah.
So, okay, so something else, when you're harvesting herbs, what should you consider in terms of location? Like, are there certain places that you shouldn't just harvest from and use?
Well, I do not have a dog, so I can go out and harvest most anywhere in my yard. But that's one thing you have to be aware of. You can always wash your herbs once you get them. And if you should not harvest them close to the highway. You should be at least 30 feet from a roadway, or maybe more. Those would be the things you'd watch for. Or someplace I don't think we generally would have a problem with it, but if it was someplace where someone was using a toxic substance of anything, why you would not want to harvest it there either. And one thing about horsetail, there's a couple of herbs too, but horsetail is one that will take up toxic substances out of the soil. So you want to be sure that's in a nice clean place. But there's usually lots of horsetail around and you don't have a problem with finding that.
Yeah. Yeah, it's so important to think about what you're doing and where you're at when you're harvesting. Awesome. Okay, so now besides making teas, what else do you make with the herbs that you collect?
Well, I infuse them in oil, and I make salves out of them. And I make, sometimes I make liniment also, and I make lip balms out of them. They're delightful salves. The salves are mostly medicinal type things.
So like with your Devil's Club, you put that into a salve, right?
Yes, and that's, of all the salves that I make, that is the most in demand salve is the Devil's Club, because it's a pain reliever.
Awesome. Okay, so don't you also make tinctures?
Yes, and you make them in tinctures, yes. And the tinctures are, you can use the tinctures internally or externally if you know the right one to use. I mean, like, you wouldn't choose some of them internally.
What are some of the ones you wouldn't want to use internally?
Oh, let's see. I'm trying to think offhand. What was that you asked me if I grew a while back? I can't think of what it is right now. Arnica.
Arnica.
Arnica is not an internal tincture, yes. And otherwise, the rest of them are pretty much good, I think, but you have to check it out. But arnica is not an internal tincture at all.
Sure.
Yeah.
Okay. So, as a home herbalist, what is important to you? And what are some of your goals?
My main goal is, and I'll just read you my mission statement because tells it all, is to raise awareness of the abundance of superior medicinal and food plants that are growing right in our own yards through conversation or instruction or demonstration. That's kind of says it in a nutshell, is for people to be aware and to learn and to teach them, yeah.
Oh, it's a beautiful thing.
Yeah, that's it.
So then how about, do you think that some of these herbs that you are looking at and working with are things that would be helpful for us in general in a society, in a culture or society that has so much illness, and it's pretty much chronic levels of illness in our society? Do you think that these herbs can help with that?
That's what they're designed for. They're designed to bring us health and healing, and they have no side effects, and they're healing. Most of our medicines are derived from an herb anyway. That some isolation, they've isolated the part of the herb that does a particular job and chemically duplicated it. But these have no side effects, and they are for healing, and they will bring healing. Yeah.
When you made a good point earlier when we were talking about all the other phytochemicals that are along with in the plant, and that when with modern medicine, when you extract one little piece, you actually get access to the whole plant and all the other chemicals that might also support.
And they support it, and it'll work different in your body than just the one isolated chemical does. And that's why it's so important. It's just like our whole foods and stuff, they're not processed, and it's important to get the whole thing because the whole thing works together to our benefit.
Yeah, brilliant. We are like-minded. I agree with you wholeheartedly.
Yeah.
So what do we have? Hi, Andy. Hey, Winona. Nice to see you guys. So I'm kind of looking for any more comments or questions. We did answer the question on Devil's Club root. And Jeanette, you mentioned that dandelion tea is so good. And you're right. Mm-hmm. Hazel made me some tea yesterday. And as much as I love plants, actually getting out and harvesting them myself, I haven't done on my own. And I'm just so grateful to have somebody like Hazel who has the experience and the knowledge so that I can walk around with her and she can show me plants. And so that actually leads me into my next question about some of the other services that Hazel provides. So we know that she makes balms. We know that she makes tinctures. She does lip balms. Terralin dicus. Terralin? Oh, are you tagging somebody, Denise? I think that's what you're doing. Okay. Hi, welcome, Denise. So tell us a little bit more about some of the other services that you provide.
Well, I can do plant IDs at my house, or I could go to your house. And in fact, it would be fun to go to somebody else's house and do the plant ID in their yard. But I do plant IDs in my yard sometimes. And I do home parties, and I do like teaching class where you learn how to make herbal oil and how to make lip balm. And I can adjust them however way they need to be, but I have done those before.
Awesome. And we actually have an event coming up. We're gonna do an exhibit at the Wasilla Museum, and the exhibit's gonna be there in July and August. But then also in the first 2 weeks of July, Hazel and I are gonna do some presentations. And so I think you had some ideas of maybe doing a lip balm or oil then?
It would be fun, yeah, because a lip balm is relatively simple to make and it doesn't take long. And so I'm thinking maybe that on one of my presentations we'll make lip balm.
Awesome.
Yeah, that'll be fun.
So Denise Nelson says, what a fantastic Alaskan resource you are, Hazel.
Thank you. I think it is available to all of us to learn, and to do.
Yeah, and I thank you for being here live with us. I feel the same way as Denise. I love the fact that you're out sharing your knowledge with us, because I think this is really important stuff for us to pass on.
I think it is too. That's why, I mean, I'm kind of crazy about plants anyway. I love plants and what's in them, but to be able to pass that knowledge on to other people, yeah, that's really fun. So thank you.
Yeah, you're welcome. Is there anything else that you'd want to add or share?
Well, I'll probably think of something later, but right now, no. Right now, not.
Well, and feel free if you have any questions, or if you want to get a hold of Hazel, maybe do a home party, or maybe have her come to your home, which is something I'm going to do. And I might even invite a couple of you over and see if maybe I can't make it worth your while, Hazel, and have you come and go around my land and show me.
Fun.
Would that be cool?
It will. It'll be lots of fun.
So if you're interested in something like that, or if you have any more questions, comment below. Even after this live video is over, we are happy to answer your questions and to get you in touch with Hazel. Okay. Thank you all for joining. Have a great day.